Dan Bradley, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mate, that accent, where's that from?
It's from Manchester.
Going to put you on the spot. Man United or Man City?
I'm a red for my my sins at the moment.
How good? How good?
Yeah.
I remember growing up as a kid. Me and my brother had pillowcases. He had Liverpool and I had Man U.
Oh, yeah.
And at the day, those days, they were great teams, right? They had great rivalry. And I always remember, Bruce Grobbler and these guys that like Kenny Dalglish, and it was just such a good time. Man United, not so much at the moment.
Not so much at the moment, but we had a good period. So I suppose my heyday of United has been through the 99 season as well. So
totally.
I had the good years.
Yeah.
Good 10, 15 years of success.
Yeah. Wow. Sir Alex Ferguson, right? What a leader. Lucky enough to read his book and some of the things. It sounded like he was a real no nonsense kind of person, right?
No person bigger than the team.
Yeah. And so there were some issues with that with some of the players, right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
How good. And now, I'm Man City. My son, he was a fan of them. Like he's a massive fan of that. So I was like, I'm trying to lean in towards, but I wish I still had the pillowcase because then I could show it off to him and sneak it onto his bed when he's not watching.
Yeah.
Hey man, what's your claim to fame? I was reading on your LinkedIn and really interested to have a chat. Like obviously, and watching some of the stuff that you've been doing, you've really got a strong mindset, which I love, and I love talking to business owners with a strong mindset because I think it's one of the things that you kind of need. In a business, business, I believe, is one of the hardest personal development games.
Mm-hmm.
You manage projects well, and you say you get good shit done, and you value people. How good's that? So talk to me about that, and talk to me about your business.
So I guess the value or those statements came from just being true to who I am when I was setting up a business. Yeah. So we probably get into it, but my background was through corporate and working for big consultants and stuff. And whilst I was in those roles, I never really felt like I fit the mold, if you like, cliche mold. Yeah. And then when I was setting things up as a business, I was starting to look at hiring. I was spending heaps of time looking at what values are and what. Nice. If the person that's going into a room is representing me, what matters, because how much can I actually tell them to act like me because I'm not in the room. Yeah. And I wrote a bunch of that, and I was trying to, if you like, write values and business, words that were corporate and a bit wanky. And they just didn't suit me. Yeah, and then I kind of had this epiphany of why am I trying to be something I'm not? Yeah, true. And good. I wrote my values in within an hour and a half of having that epiphany. Brilliant. And then the flow on of that was to develop those into the kind of the key messages of the business and what we're about. So
what values did you come up with?
So we get good shit done is one of our values.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. Challenge the status quo.
Yep.
We do what we say we're going to do. The greatest wealth is health.
Perfect.
And we did have a value that started off as don't be a dick, but it turned into don't be a jerk. Just so it could be a little bit PC.
I interviewed a guy who started, he's running a $200 million company. He's sitting in your seat 2 weeks ago. One of his core values is we don't deal with wankers. Yeah. And he got challenged. He was challenging himself because he had that when they were 30 million, 50 million, and then he got to like 200 million. And his client said, he was going to change it, and his client said, "Don't you dare change that. It's the reason we do business with you." And I think, how good's that? Like even a $200 million business is going to have a core value that's going to call out who they're not going to work with. And I think, look, we as a business owner and as someone who owns a business, you should have your own core values and be able to call it out, be able to hire and fire on them. And I think people enjoy being part of that, right? Because. And I worked in the corporate world just like you, and like the corporate values were honesty and integrity. And I was like, it's a given, right? You should be honest and you should have integrity. So it's a strange word in the corporate world because it's a dog eat dog. It's definitely a different way of interacting, that's for sure. So when you started, you made a point there, you wanted the core values to live when you're not in the room, right? What did you see in the changes? I noticed a massive difference in our business when we did this.
It was I suppose a relaxation, and the change in terms of the business internally, not much, because this was when I was actually starting to hire, looking at hiring people, and it was so bringing people onto that. what I did see was the draw to it, and people love those things. And that was part and parcel, and it's great when you start hearing clients come back to you and saying, I want to get some good shit done.
True.
So I've had a look at your website and I want some good shit done. So let's work together.
Yeah. And that's cool. Like when I know the same for us when you're interviewing and you're talking about core values. People want to be part of that, right?
Yeah.
It's not normal for them to hear, hey, one of our core values is get good shit done. So when you turn up on day one, you're expected to get good shit done, right? Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. What else did it do for your business, and now how do you keep them alive? Because I think it's a really important. You can have core values, but you got to keep them alive.
Yeah, well, living and breathing them every day. Nice. Value people, and the greatest wealth is health. Is so making sure that we're keeping that essentially comes back to looking after people, right? It's the Richard Branson thing of if you look after your people and you train them well enough, then they'll stick around. And you don't need to try and keep them with other things. Yeah. So we drive that every day in the business. It's I know we have lots of things around fitness. We all go to the gym together. We're always giving challenges. We're pushing people and challenging people to be in tough, uncomfortable positions, help them grow, try and lead from example as well.
Nice.
And it's the living and breathing the business every day, which is great. And as long as we're the leaders in the business, following suit and leading by example, it can never fade away.
Yeah. Where are some of the challenges you found with keeping those core values alive, though? Like, have you looked at changing them over the years, or have you stuck true to what you're doing? As a business grows, things can change, right? I know we retired two of our core values into the Hall of Fame. It's not that they're gone; they're still around, but right now we need to have have another two to serve where the business was at that time, or is at this point.
Yeah, and that's good that you've not just added them on and made it more and more and more.
We had a Hall of Fame, and they're retired into the Hall of Fame. Doesn't mean they're going away, because one of our core values is celebrate your victories.
Yeah,
so that's been drilled into everyone now that we celebrate our victories. So our theme for the year is own it, elevate it, celebrate it. So celebrate your victories is still around. And it's part of the character that we're now known for. So it hasn't been. Didn't want to add to it, and then you have 7, and next thing you add 2 more, and all of a sudden you've got this stupid list. Into the Hall of Fame, and then we brought two others in. So how have you kind of managed that as you've grown?
We've just stuck to them. They've so those values that I wrote from on day one, if you like, have remained as they are all the way through.
So good.
We've been, as you said before, we've been challenged on the and the shit, getting shit done, especially when you're dealing with more public entities or big private entities. But I mean, you can just have your branding without that one on it, but true. You slowly bring it back in again over time.
As long as your people are thinking it,
Yeah, and it's usually only one person. One person within a core business or entity or whatever it might be that's got a problem with it, and what's the problem with it? It's so now we've motored on, and we've kept them as they are and as they were from day one.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Did it feel so much better for you, like going from taking this other corporate thing to
Yeah, well, it was a relief, right? If we managed to get them, having spent weeks of trying to write this thing and just struggling over and over and over again, to be able to just go, that's how it is. That's who I am. That makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. You said in the corporate world you didn't feel like you fitted the mold. What was about that you felt that you wasn't your space?
It's a good question.
Because I think a lot of people actually have that feeling. I know I had that feeling.
Yeah, I guess just the feeling, the suit and tie. So originally from the UK, coming from consultancy world, that was a suit and tie every single day. And then coming over here, again moving into consulting, and it was the same sort of thing. But just never comfortable in that attire.
Too hot to wear a suit and tie,
especially over here. And then I guess people being afraid to not say what they want to say or how they want to say it. And everybody's got different levels of education and English and grammar and all that sort of stuff. But if you're true to yourself, you're always going to get your true feelings and thoughts and off there. So it's just, it always just didn't feel comfortable, if you like.
Totally, I know the feeling.
And then be wearing my own suit now in our world where we get to wear shorts and things. It's just it just feels right.
Yeah, I remember working in the corporate and like there was two guys above me, and one was on probably about 180, and the other one was on about 250K. And I was kind of getting groomed for those roles, and I just saw like there was a level of just not making any decisions because they could not afford to lose that 250K as an income stream. And, I understand that, but there was no decisions being made. It was safer in that corporate world to make no decisions, to rock no boats, to just go under the radar, do what everyone else is saying, rather than like have your own individuality. And I was looking around going, man, do you really want that? Like the money sounds good, but man, the work was boring as batshit, and you didn't back yourself at any stage. I was just like, oh, I don't know about that. So yeah, it's definitely, it's still alive today. Like, and it's brave to get out. When did you decide to get out? Like, what was the deciding there?
So that was 2016, back into 2016, and it wasn't actually a decision from the point of view, this is something I want to do. It was. We lived up in Auckland at the time, and my wife's from Wellington, and we'd always agreed to go to Wellington, where we've got at least one half of the family. Nice. And it was time to move. And looking at what was next for me in terms of a career path, and my business partner Frank Van Hatten, he at the time had just left BP where I was working, and we just struck up a conversation. He kind of dropped it. Have you ever thought about going out on your own?
Brilliant.
Which I'd never done.
Oh, wow.
Then my mind shift went from thinking about where I might go and get a job next to what would I call that business?
Yeah, good.
What would I call that? If I went and did that, what would I call that? And what would it be like?
Yeah. Had you had a history of anyone in your family or anything having a business, or did you?
My dad had been I suppose what I'd term an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
He'd bounced around from working to having his own business and back and forth and the likes. So I'd seen that in the background. I never really thought much of it.
Wow.
And then it was the mindset shift was if that was the thing that excited me. The thought of it scared the crap out of me, but it excited me. And I guess my thought was I was young enough to give it a go. And if it fell flat on its face, then I was still young enough to go and find a job. So if nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Totally.
And then spent a whole bunch of time reading the IRD website and figuring out how you actually start a business and the business GOVT. And then the pivotal point was after I decided that that's what I was going to do, I organised a coffee with Frank, who'd given me the idea. And I went to that meeting with the idea that I wanted him to, because I didn't know governance. I'd started to get some leadership roles in the business and whatnot, but in terms of running a business point of view, I had no chops in that.
Just to clarify for people listening, what kind of business was this? Like doing consulting, like project management work?
Yeah, project management work for BP Oil, so in the retail side. So I was doing construction project management.
So like for their petrol stations and all that
sort of stuff? Correct. Cool. And Frank had retired then, and I went to him with if you've dropped this on me, and if you believe in me, how about you buy in and you come and be a business partner, because then you can teach me about governance and give me some mentorship. And went to that, and I told myself that if he said yes, I'd go and do it, and if no, then I'd possibly go and find a job. And I went to that meeting, we had that conversation, and I said, how do you buy in? And he said, how much do you want?
Wow.
And that was
that's cool.
And that was the all right, I'll come back to you and let you know.
Yeah. And like obviously Frank's backing you, right? Like he's not backing the business idea, he's backing you, he believes in you. That's pretty cool. A good like for you, a positive reinforcement that hey, maybe we should. Did it skeeve even more though? Because now you got to go do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was walking back to the car. It was, oh shit, I best go and figure out how to do this.
Yeah, good. And so what was the next? Did you like okay, he's going to buy in? How did you sort all that out? Like was it?
I sat down, figured out how to get a business plan. I wrote a business plan.
And when you wrote a business plan, what were you thinking? Like, did you just like, okay, here's what I want to do, here's some things. Like, what did you go through a formal process, or was it just?
I found a free template from BNZ online. I followed the guided steps inside that plan.
Nice.
It starts, asking you about your revenue and all that sort of stuff, and you got to start thinking about, well, what's an hourly rate? Well, how much do I want to work? How much do I want to earn?
You knew the industry pretty well though. Like
Knew the industry. I knew what kind of rates people were charging. You tie that back to kind of a salary. Oh well, if I want to earn this annually, I've got to make this much annually, and then what's it going to cost for a lawyer? What's it going to cost for an accountant? What's it going to cost for? And I started to throw numbers at some stuff. Spoke to a few people, got some ideas as well, and then pulled together our first 5-year plan of what it was. And you're starting with what's the now goals, what's the 6-month goals, what's the 12-month, what's the 3 years, what's the 5 years, and the 5 years is just make it up. And then worked out what that meant in terms of what we're going to need to start it off: a computer, some licenses, some business cards, all that sort of stuff. Did some maths and said, right, this is how much for this percentage, which felt good. And it was all good.
How good. One thing I heard there is being resourceful. I think not enough people are resourceful, right? I've got to write a business plan. That would stop a lot of people. Didn't stop you. Went and found a template, BNZ. Good is good enough. Let's get it going. Let's get it down on a piece of paper. And looking at your now where, you didn't have to worry about the how, because you just look at the now, look at the where you're going, and really focus in on that. And then obviously there's a prize there, bringing someone else with experience on. What did you learn from that process though? I'm picking, I can know what you learned one thing, but I'm keen to hear what you learned from that process.
From the process was just not being afraid to know what you don't know. So. And then, as you say, be resourceful enough to go and ask some questions, be lose the ego, and be vulnerable in terms of finding information out. And then just be willing to take the uncomfortable path.
When you started implementing that, did it go all to plan?
No. And finding time to do it. There's because I was also working at the time, so. Doing that stuff in the evenings to set everything up. I had a young family, and you saw the the daylight hours of a few days.
Oh man, I remember that.
And then figuring out how you're going to go and find work. That's the thing. It's all well and good having this business.
Yeah, you got this plan on a piece of paper.
I've got a registered name. I've got a certificate, and
business card,
all that sort of stuff. And but where's revenue going to start coming from? So all right, well I've got to. Got to go and figure out who I'm going to go and talk to. I wrote down this big list of clients, but now who do I go and talk to from those things? Finding names on LinkedIn and just doing searches, and then trying to get in contact with people, asking if I can go and have a coffee. And you get a lot of doors shut in your face. But that's What
was your point of difference? Did you have a point of difference that you went to the market with?
No, to be honest with you, the whole point of difference has come with age of the business. It was I couldn't turn around and go I'm a project management company. I'm the only project management company, because there was plenty, right? We worked. I had a niche in that I'd worked in the fuels industry, and that's a very niche place. And you've got to have. And I'd been in it a long time, so. I had an understanding of the industry, and which a lot of people don't have. So that was probably the one sales prop that I had, was that I was able to being in that space. But it's also fiercely competitive, and in that you're not a lot of, it's a small industry, and when you work for one, a lot of the time they don't like you working for the other one.
So, did you go and talk to your competitors at all, like and say, look, this is what I'm doing. If you've got any excess overflow, send it my way.
No, I didn't. No. I worked with a couple of the contractors that I'd worked with previously. I kind of sat in the background so that I can, having, I suppose, insights to knowing where they had weaknesses in terms of their business operation. And worked with a couple of those guys, just helping them doing stuff in the background.
Cool.
But I suppose I was pretty. I don't know if it's luck or design, but I managed to score a couple of gigs early on, which meant that I could.
Were you price competitive early on? Like, did you?
Definitely.
Hey, you want to get in the door here, get some jobs, get some runs under the belt.
And the company that I was working, VP, who I was working for, gave me the first, let me finish off a couple of projects and kind of train up the next person coming along. So that held me over a little bit. And,
So good. And what were you like? always, when you start something, it always takes longer. It always takes longer, more money and time. Was that going on as well?
No. What actually happened with us was I started going, and so that was back in 2016. That I was getting everything set up. Early 2017, we were into running. I was into running the business.
Brilliant.
I made the decision to go and work from a shared office space rather than just working from home.
Yep.
That triggered getting some work from that co-working space because people were in there. You get to talk to people totally. and you generate some of that stuff. And then probably mid 2017 through the fuels industry, I managed to land a really big role, piece of work that actually required me to, again, it was a decision where the client called me up and said, we need somebody to take on this project delivery role.
Yep.
And deliver X amount of sites over these years that are there. Can you do it? And that decision was, well, if I'm going to do it, I've got to hire some people. And they went, well, you best get on with hiring some people.
Brilliant.
And that was, again, that decision point of, well, did I just want to just be a one-person thing?
Yeah.
Or did I want to do this thing properly and actually start employing people?
Why do you reckon they gave you that opportunity? Was like they obviously saw what you were doing and you were obviously giving a good service and so they just decided, hey, let's.
Yeah. Well, I was getting shit done. So that was like.
That's awesome. Do you have to have any qualifications or anything like to do what you're doing or?
No. Well, these days you can go and get project management qualifications. Yep. When I got into it nearly 20 years ago, it tended to be that engineers and architects and the like became project managers.
Wow.
So I've got an engineering background.
Yeah, nice.
And that I was actually an engineer back in the UK. And when I came here, I ended up into project management, which was, again, it was by surprise, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I'd been hired from the UK, and at the time, I was when I was hired, there was two roles, and one of them was in kind of just normal commercial construction, and one of them was in the fuels industry.
Yeah.
And that was how it was communicated to me. And coming over as a building service engineer, I thought, well, fuels would be interesting because it's all petrochemical, it's all stuff that I'm not used to, haven't learned about. And I said, I'll take that one. And went into the office and got given a couple of projects and started to design the building services on those projects, and then took them to my boss. And it was some car washes on some mobile service stations. And I took them to my boss for peer review, and he looked at them and looked at the drawings and said, "Fuck is this?" I said, "It's the car wash projects." And I said, "Well, you're not an engineer anymore. You're a project manager. You're building them." And chucked me the plans back. Oh. And again, it was okay. Well, I best go and figure out how to build some car washes. Turned around and walked out the room, went back to the to my office and started reading up some codes and figuring that stuff out.
That's good. Are they still standing today?
Yeah. Good
stuff.
There's a few of them in Christchurch.
Brilliant. One thing I heard there that a lot of businesses, especially if you're starting out, you should definitely do is get into proximity. So you got into proximity going and working in a co-working space, right? Like it's real easy working from home. I'll just work from home. It's easy, blah, blah, blah. Get into a co-working space. I was actually just talking to someone about this morning, getting into proximity of people and deals flow when you're in those areas, right? And that's what happened there, right?
Yeah.
What did you, when you obviously got this other opportunity, starting to hire people, where was your thought process then?
Oh, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because it became not just about me and every dollar that I was, watching the bank account coming in and invoices being paid and all that sort of stuff. And okay, well, that's got me, which I'm sure a lot of founders do, is that they when they first start out, the money that comes in each month, you go, well, that's going to, if nothing else happens, I can survive 3 months.
Oh, we all do it, right?
6 months, right? Whatever it might be. And you still do it as you get bigger. I still do it now occasionally. I jump on and go, that gives me this much. I've got my war chest, we're all good. Sorry, that's my mind. What was
it? It was just for hiring people.
Yeah, hiring people.
So you've lost your memory, right?
So then that became now it's not just about me; it's about other people, and I'm responsible for their future.
Yeah,
and then more importantly, I'd led people in terms of a senior role in previous positions, but I'd never been an employer. So you start questioning, how do I actually know enough to actually be developing people and teaching people and then working for me? Yeah. Not just a solo person anymore. And you that actually causes a lot of stress and all that sort of stuff. But you face that hard decision, that hard thing, and you do it.
Yeah. Were you having time to bounce that off your business partner, like this sort of stuff? Because there's some big questions that you're dialoguing with yourself there, right? You've got to. I believe you've got to share that sort of stuff with other people that have maybe been down a further step as well. Because if you weren't sharing that, you'd go round and round. So, what was Frank saying to you?
Yeah, well, he was just reassuring me. Yeah. He actually was sat in the interview with the first person. Brilliant. So I dragged him along. Well, I've led people and I've never hired anybody. So he was in the room when we interviewed the first person to make sure I wasn't doing anything stupid.
Yeah.
Again, jumping online and reading the resources that were there available. Yep. And trying to understand, getting a lawyer to write up a contract and understand all the things that are in the contract. Yeah. What have I got to do in terms of not just paying the person, but make sure I'm paying, PAYE, because now it was a different round of things that I need to be worried about. And it was just the thought of, and that was where the values came from. Yeah. That was where, especially the big health focus that I've got, that's where that kicked back in, because I'd spent months from when I started the thing just working all day, all night, doing long shifts, very reduced sleep, working 7 days a week, and letting health slip at the same time. And then having written those values that I wrote, and greatest health is wealth being one of them, I had to, all right, well, if I'm going to tell people that and I want people to act that way, I need to make sure I'm doing it as well.
So the leader's leading. Nice. If you fast forward to when did you hire your first person?
Mid 2017, probably June, July 2017.
And you fast forward to 24, 25 now. How many staff have you got now?
15.
15. Yeah. So that's a good number of people. What are some of the challenges you have now when it comes to those 15 people and inside your organisation?
Not having a flat structure. Yep. So for a wee while, it was a flat structure and me above. Yep. So bringing in managers to do the managing and manage people. Because you lose that. I guess you lose that point of connect to people. And trying to manage the person to be a manager, if you like. Sets a whole different set of challenges, because you've got different personalities, different styles, different way that people react to things.
Yeah. What have been some of the key things that you've done there?
Just trying to be open and trying to be available to the people that are managing people. Yep. And whereas previously I was very close and had lots of one-on-ones and things with the individuals, now I'm doing that at a manager level. Yeah. Clear values and clear expectations in terms of what we do in the business and what we're trying to achieve in terms of results, so they can be communicated. Nice. Still have those touch points where we're not losing everything, where we are getting our team together. So a couple of years ago, we've always had touch points during the year, at least a couple of times a year, where we all come together as a business and do an activity, so that those people that aren't seeing each other on a daily basis get to see each other, and they've talked to other teams and seeing each other in video chats and stuff. But, they're actually getting together. So we do that every year at Christmas, and we do it at least once or twice during the year. That's awesome. So just keeping those points there, and I guess not getting too big for your boots, not kind of having this hero complex of I'm in the charge.
Totally.
It's one of the reasons. So on our emails, on our email signatures, I'm very strict about not having positions. So nobody's got the level that there are. So mine doesn't say CEO, and project manager doesn't say just project manager or senior project manager or junior project manager, because I don't want this. I guess this tag to define the person. I want juniors to be able to feel like they can, make decisions or act in, to where they want to be, not just where they are. And I want seniors to feel vulnerable as well, that they don't always have to have the answers.
Yeah. One of our team members, Olivia Brand, she said something probably 3 years ago now. Initiative up for grabs. So it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. Initiative is up for grabs in this business, and it was so good to hear from someone who's brand new at the time too. And I think that's the power of getting out of the way of young people too, right? If you're bringing them into your workforce, give them the opportunity, because I talk to a lot of businesses and we interview a lot of young people, and one of the things that really frustrates them is no one listens to them and no one gives them a chance. Especially in the media industry, where you have directors, head of this, head of that, and other people are just supposed to bow down to them and let them, and I think that's the wrong way of doing it. Let's flip a few gears here. Let's talk about marketing, because you go from 0 people, now you've got 15. How did you grow the business?
Through from a sales perspective, to bring more money in, to be able to lift more people in. A lot of it is just doing a good job. So I've always believed in word of mouth. Word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing, right? Yeah. It's the only one that's compounding. Yeah. But both ways. If you do a crappy job, it'll compound the wrong way. If you do a good job, it'll compound the right way.
Especially in New Zealand.
100%. The marketing side, I realized early on that I needed to have a website, and I got a website from day dot. I knew I need to have channels, so I set up my Instagram, my Facebook, Twitter at the time, LinkedIn, and that would be part of my evening job to do that. So I'd be out doing my normal job, and then I'd be posting bits and pieces. Then as we grew and grew, I outsourced that initially just to an agency that did just posting. That was difficult. It was we were getting runs on the board with posts, but because we had this, I guess, niche kind of persona in terms of our business, things that were being posted weren't really in our tone of voice, and we struggled a lot with that, and branding from a point of view what they were publishing versus what we were like and who we were and what we were doing. So that got a little bit frustrating. We ended up changing agency to somebody else who was actually part of our co-working space, because then at least we could be there and talk to them. And then fast forward a few years later on, probably 21, I made the decision, and we were still quite small at the time. We was probably 8 people, 9 people, and to bring in a marketing person.
Perfect. In-house
marketing person. But I also didn't want that person to, I guess, come with a whole set of. So we'd gone through a rebrand at that point because we were Bradley Project Management. And I always knew that at some point I wanted to rebrand to BPM because I wanted it to be less about me and more about the entity. And the B can stand for anything. So we went through that in about 2020 to change the brand. And then brought in the marketing person to lead that. And we'd gone through a process when we went through the rebrand of people telling us to get rid of, we get shit done because people don't like it, and get rid of don't be a dick. And that just, again, didn't feel right. So we didn't go down those paths, and stuck to our guns, and ended up rebranding whilst keeping all that. And that's where the 3 taglines come from as well as part of that rebrand. The new person that I was bringing in to run marketing for me, I didn't want to have that same argument of going, oh, you should, make it a black and white. You're a consultancy, so go black and white and get rid of this and get rid of that. And it just, so we went to, I called it going to the well, and we put an advertisement in with Vic Uni and said, who are your marketing students, graduates? Because we've got a job for them where, it's the first job, it's a marketing lead role. Then that way they can come in and can understand the business, understand our brand, and they can almost have carte blanche on terms of trying new things and challenging the status quo.
Right? Totally.
And we managed to land a girl called Louise, who was fantastic. She came with a graphic design background.
Perfect.
And she came and embraced the role and took it in her stride and continued to grow it for us.
Good.
Yeah.
And what sort of marketing was she doing for you?
She was leading the brand. She led all our socials and was doing the posting. She was she worked very closely with me in trying to develop a strategy which aligned obviously with our sales strategy and our growth strategy.
Brilliant.
And she was, learning her chops. She was, because she just fresh out of uni.
Nice.
But so was I as well as a business leader.
When you were thinking about your marketing and obviously going from a strategic perspective, what did you like? Obviously, you're out there in the marketplace, you're doing jobs, people they come in to check you out. What is it that you wanted to get across to them? Like, what was the?
A big part of it was in the early stages was capability. So the construction industry is built on reputation.
Yeah.
New Zealand, and as I said before, you're only as good as your last job, and, reputation matters. So we were doing a lot on demonstrating capability and experience to deliver projects and deliver projects well. So that was our big core focus of, because we still were and we still do quite a bit of work in like fast food and the retail fuel type section. And we didn't just want to be, you're the fuels guys. Now we're a project management company. We can do all these other different things.
Nice.
And now we've built community centres and libraries and golf courses and a whole bunch of other things. And we've managed to get to that point now where we're just a project management and cost consultancy business.
Perfect. I like what you said there, and I think it's really important for business owners to really, one of the key things you need to lean into is demonstrate credibility, right? So when you're demonstrating credibility and capability, you don't just tell, you show. And I think a lot of businesses forget to show. They just tell, and you know, and I think you got to let people see behind the curtain and showcase. You know, get known by the success of your clients is a massive one for me. Is like you get known by the success of your customers, and that demonstrates credibility. So awesome to hear you were doing that, because it's a big part of. I believe if you should get caught in the act of what you want to do more of, you know, and it's a big one. So if you want to do more projects of a certain kind, get caught in the act doing it, you know, and show. And social media is a great place to do that, right?
100%.
Any challenges that you were coming up against when it came to the marketing? Like, you know, I know for a lot of people, you know, coming up with a strategy is probably the hardest part. But then, you know, is it working? You know, and like challenging that kind of being prepared to wait and getting frustrated with marketing is definitely any challenges that you guys were having.
And look, still to some degree, I suppose still do, right? Marketing's it's a dark art, I reckon, and everyone thinks they can do it, but you can't do it. You know, not everybody can do it well. And understanding what, especially now with website hits and social media things, and you can look at face value and you see something's got 5 likes and go, well, that didn't really do really well. But it could have, you know, the number of impressions and what it's done in terms of bounce, and actually like understanding all of that and knowing what that is. And again, being willing to ask the stupid question and going, this is all great, but what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what it means. So just, and I say still now with the education piece of conversion. So, all right, well, we've got this number of people who've looked at our marketing stuff that we've done on LinkedIn, say. And then we've had this many people go from that to our website and have a look at our website. Cool. All right. And, you know, I'm sure if you're in marketing or or you're a leader, you've seen the graphs, and you know, you have this massive amount of number of people that come to your homepage, and then, you know, X amount of percentage all just drops off straight away. And then some go through the round and you see which pages they've looked at and things like that. And, you know, well, how do we stop that drop off there, that waterfall of people just coming on and going off? What's that there, and how do we stop it, and how do we get people to go through and actually fall into the funnel of sales? And totally, what messages are really resonating with those people? You know, it's interesting. You know, I really believe, you know, when you look at marketing, the consistency of message really matters. You know, like you've got to have a consistent message, and if you don't, like you just don't get known for like things, right? Because I really believe in that frequency of reach too. So consistent message, frequency of reach, getting in front of the people time and time again, especially your ideal target audience, like your audience that can do stuff with you is very niche, right? Like you don't need millions of people coming to your website to transact, right? But you need to be relevant, you know, and you need to be relevant at the right time. And that's frustrating for a lot of business owners, because, you know, they look at these stats and go, well, where's my leads? Where's my this? Where's my that? But then next week you get a phone call and you're like, well, wonder why that phone. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from, right? And here's the thing: there's quality people and quantity people out there when it comes to marketing. Some people might only need to see one thing and they give you a call. Some people might just need to see, you know, 50 things. The hard part is for business owners is to keep going. You know, and to trust that if I've got a good product and I know that I'm targeting my target market and people are starting to become interested, business is going to fall out of that. It might just be that the fact that they're dealing with someone else at the moment.
you're not relevant right now, but when the time is right and someone may upset them, or they need to get a price on something else, all of a sudden you become relevant. And I think that's part of the, especially when you're not selling a widget. You're not selling a widget. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. When you're selling if you're selling a widget, you can be very transactional. We would go in here into the office here and pull up a screen for a couple of the big e-commerce and retail companies and we know exactly the return on ad spend, the turn on air, like everything's there, right? Harder in your space, right?
And services,
and because we have the same thing, right? And look, you can measure Google Ads and all that sort of stuff, and you can track and you can put all the codes on at the end of the day, but it can be challenging for business owners to stay in the queue.
Especially like project manager. If you cost consultancy is separate, so QSing is separate, but from a project management perspective as well, especially when everybody thinks they can be a project manager as well, and there's no you've got to have this qualification to project manage something. So you're not just fighting other project managers, you're fighting architects, engineers, property managers, QSs, just people who think they can manage their own thing.
Totally.
And it used to be with especially with project managers, our favorite clients were people that have tried to do it before on their own type of thing, and they're going, well, fuck that, I don't want to do that again. I'll get somebody who knows what they're doing.
Hey, and look, there's plenty of people out there like that. What I find as the business gets older, though, and like we're probably in the same space as you, as far as you've grown a business, you can really lean into that experience of jobs that you've done, successes that you've had. You've learned from a bunch of failures. You can actually talk about those failures now with some confidence because you've got a bunch of things behind you. So you can really lean into some good stories now when it comes to marketing and push that a little bit more, right? Versus trying to just look clean and neat and tidy that so people want to do business with you. Where did your like, obviously you talked about your wealth is health is your greatest wealth, and obviously valuing people. Where did your mindset come from? Like have you been reading books? Have you been doing courses, or have you just always had more of a positive mindset?
No, I do. I read a lot of books, but I guess more recently I've been putting it down to. So I've done martial arts for a long time, long time.
Nice.
Especially Muay Thai.
Oh wow.
And I got into that when I was probably 15.
So
discipline and mindset for training hard, and because I fought as well, so you had to have a strong mindset to be able to actually get in the ring and fight.
Totally.
And it was never something I'd thought about in terms of it linking it to that mindset. And it's only actually been recently that I've thought about that. And I started reading books when I got into business. Well, I've always been a book reader, but I'd started to read the self-development books and things as I got into business. And you read your David Goggins and people like that, and that's all about that kind of that mindset and stealing that and callousing your mind and all that fun stuff. And it all plays hand in hand with it. But I think just that I put it down to that background in martial arts and having the discipline and a mindset that drives you forward and calluses it, like I say.
I know from my limited knowledge of martial arts, but I know a number of people that are good at it. Getting good at one thing versus getting good at 1,000 things, right? And I think that's the discipline that brings to it, right? I think obviously relatively new when it comes to some of the mindset stuff, but your background would have really helped. What's some of the things that you've learned from either like Goggins or anyone else you've read that would be valuable to listeners? What are some of the things that you've done that, because you've been employing 15 people now. Not only that, you've got pressures of that, you've got pressures of doing the work, and you have family pressure, right? So how have you been able to like stay level-headed and keep the focus?
A couple of things. One is that nobody's immune to suffering from stress, and actually it's understanding that and accepting it and doing something about it. That's more of an experience gathered thing. From something I've read, there is Tim Grover. Is one of probably the best passages I've read and sticks in my mind when it comes to the different aspects of life. So for me, it's health, wealth, and relationships. So I kind of box them into those three different things. How do you maintain your wealth whilst continue to work on your wealth and balance that with the relationships.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Tim Grover thing was about balance.
Yeah.
And in it was because it was like everybody, you're always struggling with balance. You know, you're
totally.
You're overdoing it over here. You're overdoing it. And the Tim Grover thing was around balance. And well, who wants balance? Yeah. Balance is, if balance on a scale is 0, and who wants zero in life?
Exactly.
So just accept that your life is never going to be balanced. It's always going to be overweighted in one direction. Yeah. And as long as you make sure you're countering the weight and to go the other way, and when you are there, you're staying present, you're being focused, you're not doing it half-assed either way. So you're not, if you're spending time with your family, you're not on your phone, you know, doing your emails and stuff like that. And look, it's not going to be perfect every time. No. If my wife listens to this, she'll probably be rolling her eyes at that because sometimes it happens. But if you can try, you know, the 80-20 rule, 80% time, you are focusing on the thing that you need to be focused on at the time. So if I'm at work, I'm not, you know, and my wife rings me up and starts talking something like, I'll say to her, this is a home conversation. We'll have this when I get home, and then I can focus at work. If I'm at the gym, I'm not on my phone.
Good to have those
working
hard.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the key things that you said there indirectly was awareness, right? Mm-hmm. Being aware that, hey, you know, like I know when my son, I'll be at home and I'll be on my phone and he'll come over, I'll put my phone down straight away. So he has my full attention. And ever since I've done that, like I've noticed how much better we are together, you know, like he's at that age where he wants dad to go and do stuff and dad will go do stuff with him in a heartbeat. But if I am on my phone and he'll come over because he might hear me listening to something and he'll want to be part of that, I'll put my phone down and go straight back to him. So he doesn't get to watch what I was watching, even though that's what he wants. I'll put it down and then I'm focused on him. And I think that awareness thing is on point because, you know, balance, you kind of get brought up that everything has to be in harmony, but when you own a business, it's just not, right? But one thing I think, and you're probably the same, if you're on holiday, you're on holiday. And that's a big thing. We do adventures and we go on holiday and like we're on holiday. And if I have to, I'll get up early and do some work before they get up. But other than that, and I remember we had a client call me out on it once. And I say client, but he was only a relatively, maybe a year or so. He said, "Oh, you're always on holiday, you know, blah, 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 this and this." And I said, "Well, you know," I said, "look at his school holidays. Oh, well, you know, we work hard and we're not on holiday." And I said, "Hey, that's your choice."
Yeah.
And he started having a go at me. This is violent. And I said, "Well, by the way, you're no longer a client."
Fair play.
You know, I'm not going to put up with any of that, right? Like, you know, as a business owner, you work hard, and if you've got a family, why are you doing it, right? Like, there's no, you know, so don't let anyone else control what you're up to. So balance, I like that. I really do. Tim Grover, great book too. Definitely an awesome read. Man, we've been going 48 minutes. I'm going to put you on the spot because look, I probably, you know, I ask everyone this, and everyone has different answers.
All right.
So look, and look, you know, you've been there and you've done it, and there'll be a number of people thinking of starting their own business listening to this. What would you do? Give me 5 things you'd do if you were starting a business today.
Starting today, I guess I'll land on my feet with having good foundation. So I'll build the business to be bigger than you think it's ever going to be.
Nice. So
vision, yeah. So vision would say that you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But build it so that you know, I guess you're going to build Google or Apple or whatever it might be.
Okay.
And make sure the foundations are right. So I've always with foundations, so I was lucky enough lucky or by design. When I started out, I put in a shareholders agreement, I put in a constitution about how the thing would operate as it got big.
Nice.
With no view of that ever being something that I thought it would do. And that's held true all the way through.
I like that.
Get a mentor early. So I had Frank in the business as from a governance perspective. He was a friendly or a known quantity and a known governance advisor and has been fantastic. But more recently, over the last 2 years, I've had a external business mentor as well, who's walked a journey that I've never been, and he's able to, you know, tell me what's going on and tell me what to expect and actually lead me down a path that he's walked 1,000 times that I've never been down. So do that. There's an expense to that, obviously. But it pays its way in gold.
Totally.
What else? Make sure you are looking after yourself.
Yep.
Everything that you can build in terms of wealth is not going to be worth anything if you don't have your health.
So true.
And everything that you've got will mean nothing if you fall sick.
Yeah.
So actually looking after yourself, and having that as a priority and a focus. And then try and do good business with good people. Stay honest and ethical in terms of what you do. And if you're being a good business person, then law of attraction says that you should get that back in spades.
You do.
You do find the odd person here and there, but they're quickly.
That's why you have a no dick policy.
Yeah, exactly right. And then I guess in this day and age, it's embracing technology.
So true.
We've just recently, in the last couple of years, started a construction technology SaaS business to try and help the industry implement digital technology.
Cool.
As an industry, we are so far behind in terms of digital adoption.
Yep.
It's starting to wake up. The AI revolution or evolution, should I say? Because AI has been around a long time.
Totally.
People are starting to wake up to it. But being digital enabled will help you grow the business.
Yeah. What do you recommend businesses look at from a digital perspective and the construction project management?
Look at, before you go digital, map out your processes, map out what you're doing now, and have, I suppose, a system map of all the things you do. You can't automate or digitalize a process if you don't have a process.
Yeah, nice.
So map that out first, and then figure out where you're spending the most time. Figure out where you're spending the most admin time, if you like, and then automate that. So whether that's through job management, or whether that's through tendering, or whether that's through construction contract administration.
Nice.
Figure out what's taking the most amount of time and look to digitize that and do just one thing, and then one thing will lead to another thing.
Brilliant. Do you help businesses with that now?
Like, we do. Yeah,
can come to you and you help them out with that.
Yeah. So Context Solutions, we set up a new business a couple of years ago, and that was built and is designed to help construction industry move forward and move into a digital future. So
that's awesome.
It's targeted mainly the kind of small to medium sized businesses. So everything from your one man band through to a medium multi-office type contractor. Generally speaking, your bigger tier ones have got their own CTO and teams of people behind them. So it's how do we actually help that middle to smaller tier move forward and actually stay with them.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Like, you're obviously taking your experience into that digital space and embracing it. Because look, the industry is notorious for old technology, right? So having someone step into that space is awesome. Mate, that's a great five. Like, I really love the thinking, the bigger thinking, the fact that you have a shareholder agreement and all that sort of stuff in place. It's a great takeaway. And when you think back to where you were and how you weren't sure whether you're going to make that decision, there's some good thinking there. Getting a mentor is key, right? Like we have a mentor out of the States. He's done exactly what we want to do in the future.
Yeah.
In a big way, and so we know having him on board is going to help us do what we want to do. Health is definitely looking after yourself, and I think you're doing a great job looking after your team as well, making sure that they are bringing on part of that as well. I really believe when you do business with good people, there's one thing I've learned of business over the years is good people want you to actually go good.
Yeah.
And when you're around good people, when you're working with good people, they want you to go just as good, if not better, than they're going. And that's, I reckon, it's a real gift in business too. Like when you're with that, and then obviously embrace technology. And this has been a great chat. I just want to ask you one more thing. What's the gift that business has given you?
Perspective.
Yep.
I literally just come from a conversation with somebody, and they asked me what it's given me having owned a business versus just being an employee.
Yep.
And what I said to them was, you don't realize what a business owner's going through. So when you're an employee, you go, you're up and down from stress to having, feeling great and being well rewarded. When you become a founder, when you become a business owner, you still have the same, I guess, journey, but your spectrum just widens up, and your lows are lower than they ever would be, and your highs are higher than they ever would be. So that bigger perspective of what if people are running businesses, what they're going through, and understanding that.
Understand what they're going through, and like I'm fortunate enough now to be around a number of successful business owners, and I think that's a good thing as well. Being around other people that have gone through what you're going through and have that perspective as well. One of the things I find, I was even at a charity event last night, most successful people are the most giving.
Yeah.
And you see it time and time again, right? They're giving with their time, giving with their money, giving with their knowledge, and I think that's a really cool thing from business as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Hey, man, this has been fantastic. Where do people get hold of you?
They can get me on all socials, so LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
I see you do a little bit of a video update on LinkedIn.
I do.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
nice.
that's me again, challenging myself, getting out and about, doing more video content.
I was watching it and it was very good this morning, and I realized I thought we were doing a online interview, and then you said you were coming to Christchurch and you were coming to a marketing podcast, and I was like, the dude's coming in. This is awesome.
Yeah. Trying to do more of that. And then on our website, so bpm.org.nz
nice.
And contextsolutions.io.
Awesome. Hey, so look, we'll put all those notes and all those details in the show notes. Dan, I really appreciate you coming in. You shared some really cool stuff today. Thank you for your time. I love it when business owners, entrepreneurs come on and are willing enough to share their experience, because I think, New Zealand as a country can be better if more people are sharing what they're doing and what they've learned over the years. So appreciate you coming in there. Look, your job now, you've listened this far. Why don't you share it? Why don't you share it out on LinkedIn? Tag Dan and tag myself and share it out on LinkedIn. Look, the video channel's growing, the Spotify, the YouTube, and the podcast on Apple and Spotify is really starting to grow now. We've had some really, really good downloads. Coming up close will be in August, will be 3 years. So we really appreciate you being here. But just do me a favor, just share this episode. The more people will get to see it, the more fun we can have and bring on some different guests as well. All right, hey, thanks for your time. As always, have fun and never forget, always celebrate your victories.